My fourth video that I ever posted went completely viral. Like, I still can't quite comprehend how 500,000 people on the internet watched me talk about time management. Hello! This feels really weird to be back. 9 months ago, I hit pause on this channel when it was going faster than I could have ever expected. And today I want to explain. Where I've been, what I've been doing, what I've discovered, and most importantly, what is next for this channel. When I started this channel at the beginning of 2024, my goal was not just to add to all of the noise that was already out there. I didn't want to share more productivity tips. I really didn't want to fall into the viral trap of trying to get more views just for the sake of getting views. I genuinely wanted to come on and share what I was so passionate about, share about how to maximize your human potential and how to live a better life. And I wanted to take everything that I had learned and everything that was helping me so much in my life and be able to communicate that with others. I was just obsessed with this idea that we all have 24 hours in a day, but the amount that people can do with that 24 hours is vastly different. And yes, things like money come into play, but a big thing is how are you using your energy and how are you doing things in your life that allow you to save time in some areas so you can have more time back for the things that you really want to do. Before this, I had spent about 2 years building up an Instagram community, but I knew that I needed a space to dive deeper. I am an INTJ, and if you've ever looked at Myers-Briggs personality types, I love kind of going into things in more detail and really diving into the nitty-gritty things, which is what I tried to do in my videos. So Instagram was great, but it wasn't enough to be able to share all of the ideas that I wanted to share, which is why I dove into the really scary world of YouTube. I had no idea what was coming for me. I put a lot into those 7 months. I woke up at 5 a.m. pretty much every day, and I would spend 60 to 90 minutes before work, before studies, before anything else in my life to research, to write, to prepare for these videos, because it was what I was genuinely so passionate about, and I didn't mind sacrificing other things to be able to do this because I loved what I was doing. I dedicated my weekends to filming and my nights to editing, and throughout the whole process, I was really just trying to stay in the habit of creating videos that gave genuine value and that were backed by evidence, because I didn't want to just contribute to more of the noise that was out there on the internet. And then something completely unexpected happened. I had been told and I'd been prepared that starting a YouTube channel was really hard and it was a long-term game. So I expected to have maybe 100 subscribers in the first few months if I was lucky. 3 months in, we hit 5,000 followers. My fourth video that I ever posted went completely viral. Like, I still can't quite comprehend how 500,000 people on the internet watched me talk about time management. By the way, leave a comment below about when you first discovered my channel. I would be really curious to hear. Anyway, by 6 months in, we had hit 16,000 subscribers, and it's still insane to me how that happened. But this is when the brand deals started coming in, and I started to get opportunities to actually monetize all the hard work that I was putting into my videos. This was everything that a creator was supposed to want, but with that success became a lot of pressure that I hadn't anticipated getting within the first 6 months of beginning this channel. The comments were one thing, but more than that, I felt this massive pressure to be the perfect example of productivity, to practice what I preach 24/7, and honestly, it just wasn't sustainable. Looking back now, I can see that the numbers and the pressure that I was putting on myself, they almost made me too productive, if that makes sense. And the truth is, I started questioning whether productivity alone was enough anymore. The world was changing so quickly. Me personally, I love learning, so I was trying to learn new things, but I didn't feel like I could share that on my channel because then I would be moving away from the productivity content that I had been putting out and the focus that I had on self-development. I was also really conscious that I didn't just want to fall into the growth trap and just create videos for the sake of getting views. So I knew that I needed to take a bit of time, take a step back, and I was actually getting ready to go on holiday, so it was perfect timing. Basically, I just needed a period where I could stop working in the business, as they say, and start working on the business and work out what I actually wanted to achieve with this and where I wanted to take things next. So as you can probably guess, if you've watched any of my past videos, I have not spent the last 9 months sitting around doing nothing. At this point, I've basically just accepted that I am incapable of relaxing, and I am completely fine with that. So the past 9 months have actually been one of the most exciting periods of my life. First, I graduated from uni. After 5 years, I got my double degree and I threw myself into my career. I've spoken before about how I don't actually believe in going all in, quitting your job to pursue this massive dream without any safety net. So having this period of time where I actually had the mental space and a bit more time to focus on my career and focus on building some foundations has been one really unexpected benefit. I also started exploring how I could take my productivity knowledge and apply it to different things outside of just personal work and personal life. How I could take my passion for systems and processes and use it to help businesses optimize the way that they work. In typical fashion, I threw myself into this systems consulting world alongside my 9 to 5, building my website from scratch, sending hundreds of messages, going to networking events, learning as much as possible about systems and processes and good business operations. Eventually, I got the opportunity to work with some real businesses using ClickUp and Notion to help them optimize the way that they worked and improve their team's productivity. And my third major focus, which funnily enough is kind of what has led me back to this channel, was following my curiosity. I read so many books, I studied a bunch of online courses, I just went and explored things outside of anything that I had explored before. I discovered biographies, which, by the way, if you're a reader, if you enjoy personal development, if you want book recommendations, then biographies are by far one of the best books to read. Throughout all of this exploration, I eventually fell into the world of AI. And this is where everything changed for me. If you have been in the self-development world for a while, you might have heard of the concept of Ikagai. This is a Japanese term that translates to a reason for being, something that gives life purpose, joy, and meaning. Ikagai is the idea that we all have a life purpose, something that we are uniquely qualified to share with the world. So this will often come from your interests, your passions, your knowledge, and your experiences. They'll all kind of come together and mold into this really unique area that you alone can do best for the world. Something that allows you to create financial stability while really enjoying the process and being fulfilled along the way. Now, I'm explaining all this because in exploring my curiosities, I think I came across my Ikagai. I love productivity, self-development, and finding more effective and efficient ways to do things. I like to think I'm good at simplifying complex topics and looking at things from an overall systems point of view. And apparently I'm half decent at creating content. Thanks to my YouTube and the consulting work I did, I had the evidence to prove that yes, I could be paid for these things. But the one biggest question that remained was, what did the world need? What problem could I solve? Well, I knew one problem that I desperately needed solving, and that was understanding how to take this entirely new concept of AI, this massive field that seemed so intimidating, and work out how to apply it to my life, my work, my business, without all of the technical complications. So that was it. It went from simplifying productivity to simplifying AI so that everybody can use it to benefit them. What's become crystal clear for me from the experience that I've had and the knowledge that I've uniquely gained in the past is that the intersection of productivity and AI is going to create insane possibilities. It's not just another topic. It's going to be the essential skill set for people who not only want to stay ahead, but also people who want to have the time to do the things that they really want to do in life. AI is predicted to create nearly $20 trillion in value over the next 6 years. It's literally about to change the next 2 decades as much as computers changed the last 2, but so many of us are still waiting on the sideline because we don't understand it, we don't know what it can do for us, and we don't think that it's going to impact us. We're thinking of it as just another phase that's going to pass by. And to be honest, this is even more important for women because One thing that I noticed as I was starting to learn about all of this, as I was doing my research, taking courses, watching videos, following people on social media, was just the sheer lack of women in the space. And I don't know if it's because women aren't creating the content or if it's because they're not getting as much reach, but I felt like I was back in my first year engineering maths class with a male teacher surrounded by all of these male classmates, wondering if I was in the right room. Now, maybe the interests are just different between men and women, and maybe it's just not the same representation online as there actually is in reality, but to be honest, the data doesn't back that up. But the reason that this is such a big red flag for me is because of the sheer economic gap that this could create. We just spoke about the amount of value that AI is going to create. And if women aren't in this conversation from the beginning, if we don't dive in and learn how we can use it, how we can build businesses with it, how we can improve our lives with it, then we're going to be missing out on this massive amount of potential. We risk being left behind in what's shaping up to be the biggest workplace transformation of our generation. Think about it. If we aren't integrating these tools when it makes sense to, then we are literally working twice as hard for the same results and maybe even worse results than those who are actually leveraging the tools for the right things. At its core, this channel has always been about taking big, complex ideas and trying to simplify them down so that everyday people can use them without having to understand all of the science and technical aspects behind it. It's been about simplifying complex things to find better ways to work and live, and that has not changed. What has changed are the tools that we have available, my own understanding of the state of the world, and the skills that are going to matter most in the next 5, 10, 20 years. Right now, the AI space is dominated by either technical experts or doom and gloom predictions, neither of which make it a very fun topic to learn about. What we're missing and what I wish I had is the practical middle ground, the space where we figure out how we can actually use this technology in our everyday work, life, and business. Let me give you a quick example of what I mean. It is now 100% possible to create a week's worth of content in 2 hours instead of 2 days. It is possible to analyze spreadsheet data without having to be a technical wizard and just have a machine give you the insights that you need. And it is possible to plan an entire Japan trip without having to do all of the overwhelming research and planning yourself. And that is speaking from experience, because organizing a trip is way too much effort. People are already doing this right now, and it's something that we should all be taking advantage of. So, what you probably started watching this video for, what does this mean for this channel? Moving forward, my focus is going to be on making AI practical, simple, and actually useful. Based on what I plan to learn over the next few months, you can expect to see videos on things like using AI to save time on everyday tasks and simplify that massive mental load that we all carry. You'll also get content on leveraging AI for business growth and content creation without having to be a tech expert. And yes, of course, combining AI and productivity for even better results. And I want to be really clear, I am not an AI expert and I don't want to pretend to be. I'm going to be learning right alongside with you, but the difference is that I'm going to dive into all the complex topics. I'm going to sift through all of the knowledge and look at all the resources and try and take all this information and bring it into a simple, practical, accessible form that gives you the information that you need to know without having to spend hours searching for it. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when people have been doing something for years and they're complete experts on the topic, they're really inspirational and they're really aspirational, but I can't always take what they're teaching me and implement it because they're just too far ahead. They might not, they don't necessarily remember exactly what it was like at the start of their journey, and what they're teaching might be beneficial for where they're at now, but not necessarily for where they started out. And I think that something that I always wish I did as I was on my productivity journey was sharing things as I learned them, sharing things as I was doing them, rather than looking at it retrospectively. And so by starting this process now and by sharing something that I'm genuinely interested in and curious about, and I'm actually learning on the go, right now, I hope that one, it will help me with my own knowledge, but I hope that it will also help to connect with you if you've been interested in exploring this area, or you think that it really could benefit you, but you just haven't had the time, or you just have felt a bit too overwhelmed to dive into it. For anyone wondering about the productivity content, don't worry, it's not going to be going away completely. I am a productivity lover at heart. I am obsessed with productivity. It makes me happy to know that I'm doing things that are meaningful and I'm not wasting time on things that don't matter. So I don't think I could stop myself from sharing those principles and those topics. So I'm not sure exactly what that will look like as it's weaved into my content, but I can pretty much guarantee that it's going to still exist over time throughout my content. And I'm also hoping that now that I've taken a step back and I've taken some time off to kind of reset and look at the bigger picture, that I'll be able to come and approach it from a really sustainable way, and a way that can benefit everyone and not just those. Like, I'm aware that I was very privileged, and I am very privileged in that I had public transport available to me, and I didn't have a family, and I didn't even have a boyfriend or kids who I had to dedicate time towards. So I know that in that aspect, my life was probably very different to a lot of your lives. And so hopefully now, having taken a step back, I can come back and try and give you some principles that will help regardless of your situation, and regardless of your goals. So basically think of it as productivity 2.0. All of these systems and the strategies and the ways of presenting information that you loved before, but now just with some more AI tools and AI concepts implemented throughout. AI literacy is going to be one of the most essential skills to have over the next 10 years. And I refuse to let anyone be left out of this conversation simply because they don't have access to the knowledge and the tools to be able to implement it. In a world where we're carrying so much, managing our careers, relationships, personal development, households, and in many cases kids, AI offers us a genuine opportunity to offload some of that mental load and focus on what truly matters. So if you want to stay ahead of the curve, if you're curious about AI but don't know where to start, if you want to build your business or side hustle in less time or complete your work in less time, consider this your invitation to learn alongside me. I'm really excited to help make AI simple and practical so that you can use it to improve your life. Let me know in the comments. Give me, first of all, a life update. How have you been? What have you been up to? But also let me know, what are you most curious about when it comes to AI and productivity? What feels overwhelming? What do you wish you could automate? I honestly couldn't be more grateful that you're here. Thank you for hearing me out. Thank you for joining me on this next chapter. I'm really excited to see where it goes and what we can learn, and I hope you are too. Until then, I will see you in my next video.